Hey friends, my name is Jonathan Page. I'm the Director of Connection and Innovation here at the Virginia Annual Conference, and we are just about 1 week away from our annual conference session. So I wanted to come with you today to journey through some questions. A lot of you have been reaching out to me and to our annual conference office, just wondering some things about annual conference. And so we're just going to go through some of the top questions that we've been getting. I've got my trusty laptop here to make sure that we're hitting all of those. So let's dive in and see what all we can answer today together. So first, a question we're getting a lot is, do I need to register? Everyone will need to register at annual conference. Now, the word registration, a lot of times I think of register as meaning like I've got to sign up in advance or something like that. If you're a clergy person, you're already in the system, you're there. And if you're a lay delegate from a local church, or if you're a lay member coming from your district as an at-large member, you are already in our system. When you arrive, you're going to want to go into the Special Events Center. Before you do anything else, go to the Special Events Center, and as you come into that space, on the left-hand side, there will be clergy registration, and then on the you'll make almost a U-turn if you're a lay person, and on the side wall there will be laity registration. What you're going to do if you're a clergy person, you're going to scan your badge. Hopefully you've got your permanent badge with you, and all you'll just do, there's actually a self-service kiosk where you'll be able to scan your badge. If you're a lay person, you'll check in with a volunteer there. They'll make sure that you've got whatever credentials you need. If you're a clergy person and you don't have your badge, you'll check in with a volunteer and they'll give you a temporary paper badge, and that'll be what you'll use during annual conference session. For clergy especially, make sure you go to the Special Event Center first before clergy session begins on Wednesday afternoon. You'll go from there into the Performing Arts Center where clergy session is taking place. You'll scan your badge again to be admitted into that space, and that's going to be important for something else that I'm going to talk about in just a moment. That other piece related to clergy session, we're getting a few questions about this $100 credit towards churches or $100 check for clergy who are attending annual conference and needing that extra night of lodging. So just so you know, there is no paperwork to fill out. There's nothing that your local charge needs to do right now. This $100 is going to be available to each local charge. Remember, if you're on like a 2 or 3 or 4 point charge or something like that, your charge would receive this $100 check as a help to cover the expense of a clergy person who is needing an extra night of lodging for annual conference. So how this is going to work. Clergy, you'll scan in at annual conference, at the clergy session of annual conference, and we'll get a report of every clergy person who was in attendance at the clergy session. What we'll do from there is every local charge with an appointed clergy person who attended clergy session will receive an email following annual conference, likely the week after annual conference, to say, hey, your clergy person was in attendance on Wednesday, you're eligible for a $100 check, would you like to receive it? Likely your church or your charge treasurer will reply to that and say yes if you would like it, no if you would not, and those replies will be due by June 30th, and then checks will be cut from the annual conference office and arrive at local charges no later than the end of July. And so that's how that will work. Again, no voucher needed, no any kind of advance notice needed. It's just about attending clergy session. That's what's going to drive that. The next question that we've been getting is about voting. How is voting going to work? Hopefully, if you are watching this video and you're a member of annual conference, clergy or laity, you should have received your voting credentials in your whatever your VAUMC account is. So for clergy, your VAUMC.org account. For laity, whatever email you've given to your local church to receive official annual conference communication. That email, you would have received your voting credentials if you are an eligible voter at annual conference on Monday, June 2nd. You will need to make sure that you have the information that's in that email with you at annual conference. That's a username or a user ID and a password. When we get to annual conference, there will be a QR code available on Friday afternoon that you will access to access the voting platform. That's not going to be available prior to Friday afternoon. You don't need it prior to Friday afternoon. And so that'll be available on site for you to be able to get into the voting platform and vote. You will only be able to do that if you are in person in Roanoke. Again, you must be in person in Roanoke to vote. There will be no off-site voting. You can't be down the street at McDonald's. You can't be in your PJs at home. You need to be in the Berglund Center, present within the bar of the conference to be eligible to vote on constitutional amendments on Friday afternoon of annual conference. With you, you'll want to have either an Apple or an Android device. That can be a cell phone, a tablet, whatever you might need in that regard to be able to vote. If you don't have a device, we do have a limited number of loaners that will be available. You'll be able to check that out on the floor of annual conference. There'll be clearly marked a booth where you can check out loaner tablets, and there will be people there to offer you assistance. If you're kind of worried about the tech, don't be worried. We'll have people there to help you, and we are going to do practice voting in advance of the voting on constitutional amendments, and all of that's going to happen during the Friday afternoon business session of annual conference. To do voting, we're going to need Wi-Fi, and there is going to be Wi-Fi available at the Berglund Center. A couple of things I want to mention about this. The Wi-Fi will be in a network, so you'll have to be able to drop down in a menu in your phone or tablet or whatever you're using and select the network. We'll have that information for you when you arrive at annual conference, and any kind of password protection that's there. When you're using the Wi-Fi, something that we would ask is please only use Wi-Fi for web browsing, email, text messaging, and things like that. Please do not use public Wi-Fi for video streaming, for high bandwidth use purposes. If I have YouTube TV, don't watch YouTube TV on the Wi-Fi during annual conference or any kind of streaming. Your Netflix, your Hulu, any of that needs to stay off because we want to make sure that everybody is able to access and use the Wi-Fi well. One way that you can help with this is in advance of annual conference, it's important to download the Book of Reports and the addendum, more about that in a moment, before we get to annual conference. If those are already on your device, you'll be able to easily access them from whatever file storage you use on your device, and we'll be able to pull that up that way instead of lagging down the Wi-Fi network with any kind of additional use and that sort of thing. So I mentioned an addendum there. There is a question we're getting is there any additional information coming related to the Book of Reports? Yes, there is an addendum that will be released on Friday, June 6th, sometime during the day. Annual conference members will receive an email about this, and it will be on our official conference website, vaumc.org/AC2025. That addendum is going to have a couple of corrections to items that are in the Book of Reports. It's going to have information about minute questions as well as an update to our agenda. And so you'll want to look for that. It'll be a single file. It'll have page numbers just like the Book of Reports does, but that'll be coming to you. It'll be available starting this Friday, June 6th. I mentioned there are some agenda updates. So there is some news. We found out just a short time ago that Reverend Dr. Candace Lewis is not able to join us at this annual conference session. We're praying, she has an illness that she's recovering from. We're praying for her in the midst of that. And so there's a little bit of a shift in our schedule that I want to make you aware of. Scott Erickson, Scott the painter from the internet, is going to be doing our teaching session on Thursday afternoon. Originally, he was scheduled to be on Friday morning, so he's going to join us on Thursday afternoon to lead a teaching session. He's also going to be available for an event I'll mention shortly on Thursday evening. And then on Friday morning, rather than having a teaching session, we're going to be able to expand our time that we're in business on Friday morning. So we'll still begin at 9 a.m., but our business session, rather than concluding at 10:30 or 10:45 a.m., will now run all the way up until our lunch break that morning. And that'll give us ample time to be able to cover the business that we were due to share on Friday morning and possibly some other items that were to come later in the annual conference session. And from there, we'll proceed as the agenda has been outlined previously. One of the pieces that I should also mention related to the agenda is Reverend Dr. Lewis was due to preach our memorial service. I'm really excited to announce that while we're very sad that Dr. Lewis can't be with us, the Reverend Dr. Charles Ledlam Bates is going to be our memorial service preacher on Friday afternoon. We're really grateful to Charles for stepping in and leading in this time and looking forward to his message and to that service and to all of our worship services at annual conference. A question we've been getting is, so especially related to Scott Erickson, is there a way that we can connect with him other than through the teaching session? Yes. On Thursday night of annual conference, Thursday, June 12th, we're going to have an evening with Scott Erickson. This is going to be at the Hotel Roanoke in the Roanoke Ballroom at 7 p.m. It's open to all of our annual conference members. There's no pre-registration required. There will be some snacks and beverages available there, and that'll be a time with Scott to explore some other subject matter and to have some opportunity. Again, this is not a part of our official conference agenda. You're free to do whatever you'd like on Thursday evening, but if you'd like some time with one of our teachers, that's a great opportunity to come together and get to have some space with Scott Erickson on Thursday night at 7 p.m. at the Hotel Roanoke Ballroom. A question we've been receiving is regarding processionals. So what are processionals going to look like at this annual conference session? So for clergy specifically, clergy are going to be doing processionals at the opening worship service of this annual conference. In past years, we've done processionals with the service of call and ordination, but this year we're doing that only in the opening worship service. If you'd like to participate in that, you do need to register in advance. There's a link that'll come right below me right here for you to be able to follow and register if you'd like to be a part of that processional. And you'll just want to make sure that you're in place, gathered, and ready to process at 8:30 a.m. on Thursday morning before annual conference begins on June 12th. At the service of call and ordination, only those persons being recognized will process. So in past years, clergy have been able to process of all different varieties. Folks who have been standing with persons who are being recognized have been able to process. This year, just those being recognized are processing. Otherwise, you're welcome to attend that service, welcome to be a part of that worship service, but you won't be processing in that worship service. And this is, by the way, also only available for clergy. This year, we won't have any kind of laity processional as a part of the worship at annual conference. Another sort of agenda-related question we're getting is about lunch labs. How do I register for lunch labs? What's involved with that? So lunch lab registration is live on our conference website at vaumc.org/AC2025. The lunch options related to lunch labs, when you register for a lunch lab, the cost each day is $10. And the reason for that cost is we are going to be able to provide you lunch if you are registered for a lunch lab. So those lunch options, I will say, they are limited. Sandwiches, wraps, salads, some snacks, and some beverages. But it's enough to feed you lunch, I promise, and worth the $10, even just to be able to hear the good things that'll come from lunch labs. That'll be worth the $10. That is also the only way that we are officially able to provide lunch at the Berglund Center. So if you choose not to register for a lunch lab, you will have concession stands available, or you'd need to go off-site from the Berglund Center to one of the Roanoke area restaurants or establishments in order to get lunch on Thursday or Friday afternoon. But if you'd like to register for a lunch lab, we are extending the registration for that. That's going to be open through Friday of this week. So Friday, June 6th at noon is the new deadline for lunch lab registration. So if you'd like to be able to have the convenience of staying on site, having a lunch there in the Berglund Center, and being able to learn some things from some great teachers and colleagues, that is available to you, and you'll just need to register by Friday. Again, $10 per day. And you can do that at vaumc.org/AC2025. Just look on that page for lunch lab registration. Another question we're getting is about annual conference offering. When are we going to be collecting annual conference offering? The annual conference offering is going to be collected as part of the opening worship service that's happening on Thursday morning beginning at 9 a.m. So if you have any kind of cash that you're bringing or check that you're bringing for that, you can bring that with you. Also, we'll have QR codes available if you'd like to give online. That'll be able to happen during that service. But that annual conference offering is going to be collected during the opening worship service on Thursday morning. And if you want more information about the offering, what it's going to, what it'll support, I encourage you to visit vaumc.org/AC2025. One other piece that's new to annual conference this year, in our display area, we're going to have something called a listening booth pinwheel. There are 4 rather large subject areas that we're going to be talking about during the course of our business of annual conference. Those are related to pensions, our budget, the regionalization, constitutional amendments, and a proposed shift in our structure related to leadership of the annual conference. And so as you enter the special event center, you'll be able to see there will be it looks like a pinwheel, 4 sort of sectioned off areas where representatives from each of those areas will be able to do some Q&A at particular times of the annual conference session. So those are going to be staffed primarily in the following windows. There will be people there in 30-minute windows following the recess for lunch on Thursday, the recess of business on Thursday afternoon, before the session begins on Friday mornings around 8:30 that morning, and at the lunch break on Friday afternoon. So those 4 times will be chances for you to go. There will be representatives there, some tables, and some opportunity just to engage in conversation if you have particular questions around, again, pensions, budget, regionalization, or the connectional table structure. 2 more questions that we're getting. One is about a live stream. Will we have a live stream available? The answer is yes. That link will be available and sent out the morning of June 12th as annual conference is beginning. It'll be on the homepage prominently, and you'll be able to find that link directly at vaumc.org/AC2025. Last but not least, we've gotten a question about sign language interpreters and assistive listening devices. Both of those are going to be available at this annual conference session. So we will have sign language interpreters, and there will be listening devices available. You'll just want to mention that when you come in and are checking in at registration. Let somebody know that you need to take particular advantage of those resources, and they'll be able to direct you where you need to go to find more information and to receive that as it is applicable to you and to your situation. The last thing I want to say to you, this is the last communication that I'll have with you before our annual conference session. We're together in Roanoke. Is first off, thank you so much for your attention and your diligence as we've been leading up to annual conference. This is a labor of love. There's a lot that goes into it, and so much of it relies on you and all that you do. So thank you so much for your faithfulness related to annual conference. I want to encourage you, I've mentioned it several times in this FAQ video, make sure you've bookmarked and that you're visiting with some frequency vaumc.org/AC2025. That's the most up-to-date source for any information you might need, any resourcing you might need. And I just want to encourage you, the whole conference center staff here in Glen Allen is praying for you. We are believing that the Holy Spirit's going to be up to some good stuff when we're together in Roanoke. And we would just want to encourage you, bring your best self. Bring positive attitude, hope for the future of the church, anticipation that we're going to encounter the Holy Spirit as we gather together, and believe that God is up to something in our midst. And we can't wait to discover what all that looks like in Roanoke and beyond Roanoke as we gather for annual conference session in just a few days' time. So if you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out. We're going to put my email address right here at the bottom of the page. And again, vaumc.org/AC2025 for any information you might need. That is a very robust and helpful page. Thanks so much for who you are and all that you do. I can't wait to see you in Roanoke for a great 2025 annual conference session.